I've reviewed a lot of games on Forever Classic, but I don't think I've ever reviewed anything in space. So today, we're going to take a look at Starbound, made by a developer company called Chucklefish. They're an independent game studio that focuses on the design elements of consoles past. Not only are they developing what is shaping up to be one of the greatest games I've ever played, they've also had a hand in publishing several great titles of which I also enjoy. So hold on to your hats, this is a Forever Classic review. In the center of Chucklefish is Ty Yuri, who wanted to make his dream game. Together with his team, Chucklefish has done well so far. Charmed by the classics of the Super Nintendo, this independent company keeps truth to that era of design. Pixels are used by Chucklefish as the ultimate medium by a perfectly balanced team of talent. As technology began to evolve into the era of 3D models and game developers started to brag about polygons, game design hit a very strange period. Even the best of games of that time still looked aged and felt clunky at times. The tight controls of Mega Man X or Super Mario World were a fond memory. Of course, these new graphics still had pixels occasionally, but it was like seeing the pixels was a bad thing. Pixels started to be equated with failure. However, occasionally a game would come along displaying its pixelated goodness proudly. This was especially true as independent games became easier to distribute. Minecraft is probably the most successful indie hit on the PC, which led to a flood of games parodying that style. Minecraft proved that gamers still love this style of game and led to an amazing period of fantastic pixel art. Quickly mastering this style, Chucklefish is starting to become one of the most recognized indie development teams just on their art alone. Everything in their games looks awesome, creating a timeless look and feel. Even the Chucklefish website carries this theme. The research done for this review actually felt like an adventure instead of a chore. At first I thought their website was loading, only to find out that all I had to do was walk through the front door of their cozy cottage. Inside you can meet the team, hang out in the forums, and learn more about each project. Of course, the biggest project is Starbound, but I'm going to save that till the end. Until then, I'd like to talk about other games published by Chucklefish, but developed by other studios. This includes Treasure Adventure Game, Wanderlust Rebirth, Stardew Valley, and Risk of Rain. The first of which puts the player on an island filled with quirky characters and treasure. Treasure Adventure Game immediately starts with themes that remind me of The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. It's a pirate game of adventure, complete with boats, parrots, hook hands, and paper hats. Exploration is a must as each area has hidden avenues and locked doors. Similar to Metroid and later Castlevania games, this game relies on gaining items and abilities to progress to other areas. For example, gaining the sail lets one travel through choppier water. The game controls fairly tight, but using a controller is definitely recommended as the platforming requires a lot of precision. Musically, the game presents an excellent array of catchy tunes that support the adventure's theme. Overall, the game is definitely worth downloading, especially because it's absolutely free from GOG.com. Interesting to note, there is a planned sequel called Treasure Adventure World. This title's most notable difference is the art style, which is switched from sprites to hand-drawn characters. A demo is currently available for download on their website. Changing the perspective from 2D to a top-down view brings us to Wanderlust Rebirth. Wanderlust Rebirth is a traditional-looking RPG in the style of such classics as Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. Of course, in usual Chucklefish fashion, the game is awesomely pixelated and moves rather smoothly. The difference between this game and traditional RPGs is the hack-and-slash gameplay that requires twitchy reflexes and precision. The player chooses one of 4 character classes of either gender and then levels up in various ways for different playstyles. Crafting, a game design fad, is also utilized to create new equipment by gathering items from enemies. While I do enjoy Wanderlust, I have a few complaints with it. The main problem is the awkward controls, and by default the movement is mapped to WASD, while attacks and abilities are set to your arrow keys. While this sounds fine and dandy, it becomes a bit disorienting when the player has to hold down the right key and keep track of movement, and dodge in to sneak in a backstab or drop a spell. However, by using a 360 controller, gameplay is much smoother. Even after hooking up that though, the character movement feels slightly awkward, and another problem is the story mode's very cliche. The hero is immediately sent to participate in an arena where he fights wolves, which is among one of the most used tropes in RPGs. I mean, all in all, Wanderlust Rebirth is neat if you like old RPGs, but unless you're a die-hard fan, you'll probably only play it for about an hour. Another RPG game yet to be released by Chucklefish is Stardew Valley. This game is being developed by Concerned Ape and centers on simple farming life. Unfortunately, as of this review, there's no solid release date. There are, however, several screenshots, developers' notes, and trailers. Looking at the trailer actually reminds me of a combination of Harvest Moon with the combat of Zelda and the survival system of Minecraft. In fact, fans of Harvest Moon will want to pick this title up as soon as it comes out, especially fans who are PC gamers. I'll be sure to cover Stardew Valley after its release on this channel. Till then, I'll enjoy playing one of my newest addictions, Risk of Rain. Risk of Rain was developed by Hopoo Games on GameMaker, the engine that many game developers actually start learning game design with. That alone builds excitement. Risk of Rain is a brutal game that brings the player to a strange alien world. Similar to Binding of Isaac and Eldritch, Risk of Rain falls into the roguelike genre, which is kinda hard to define itself. It's almost as if the genre is sneaky, like a rogue. I think I get it. The game loves to play with scale, making each enemy feel that much more powerful compared to the player, who is incredibly small. This leads to terrifying boss battles with creatures much larger than the size of the player. And things get even crazier as several bosses appear at once. The only hope for surviving is to equip oneself with a multitude of power-ups. Each of these items are generated at random, making each playthrough of the game subtly different. They vary from simple damage boosts to healing fungus to an electric ukulele that adds lightning damage to attacks. Even though things may seem hopeless for the lonely commando, help can arrive in the form of from extra characters and cooperative play. Space is even more fun with a buddy. Up to 4 players can join the game online or locally, with the game supporting several gamepads with ease. Players do not share power-ups though, and must distribute these carefully. Cooperative play also has a tendency to make the game more difficult, which can create intense moments. The goal of each level is to find a portal that takes you to the next level. Along the way, each character will have to slay roaming creatures to level up and gain more money. This money can then be used to buy power-ups and attempt challenges. Once the portal is found, the player must make sure that the heroes are ready. After the portal is activated, the explorers must survive an onslaught of enemies, and a boss. Each boss is a massive creature with nothing else better to do but bring hurt. Thousands and thousands of pounds of hurt. Space is vast, scary, and full of possibilities. Hanging around one level just makes things worse, even though the player is constantly getting stronger as the difficulty is on a steady climb. The monsters show no mercy, leaving the player to lead an all-out assault to the portal. Balance is definitely a must for survival. Yet while space does hold fear, it also holds wonder. This wonder, alongside more fear, adventure, and creativity, is perfectly captured in Chucklefish's most popular game and the only one they've developed thus far, Starbound. Taiyuri actually worked on Terraria as an artist. Even in beta though, Starbound is shaping up to be a bit more interesting in my opinion. Imagine if each world in Terraria was spawned in a galaxy that was then made accessible by a spaceship that will, eventually through updates, be customizable. This opens up thousands of possibilities to explore, ranging from Earth-like planets to frozen wastelands to harsh deserts and even living planets. Yeah, those are creepy. After creating a character, the player is spawned in a spaceship with only one option of warping down to an unknown planet. Armed only with basic tools, the player drops down to make a dent of existence in this vast galaxy. In typical post-Minecraft fare, survival gets rough when the sun sets. Aggressive aliens of all sizes and abilities appear, capable of quickly dropping the up-and-coming space cadet. This fear leads the player to build a shelter and better equipment, all while narrowly avoiding starvation, hypothermia, or death by alien. Progression shows up not only in equipment, but in quests and boss battles. Many NPCs can be interacted with, which can lead to a quest and a reward. Bosses can be encountered as well, the first showing up after attempting to signal for help. This results in a dangerous but comical fight between a large spaceship that drops trooper penguins and tanks. Another aspect that makes this adventure unique is the humor. Once came across a lonely outhouse with wooden platforms beneath it. Descending into those dark depths left me face to face with alien poop. Not the fecal matter of aliens, but a living creature resembling poop. I was slain by that poop, leaving me with a fear of outhouses. Even porta potties were too much for my mind to deal with. Soon after this death, I set out into the world to find a better weapon. Unfortunately, I had almost exhausted my crafting tree, leaving me with a hunting knife and an iron bow. The first time I traveled to another world was pure magic. To get to another planet, the player must gather resources that can be used to fuel the ship. The first of which is coal, which is fairly common, but it takes a lot to fill up the ship. Depending on how far the player is traveling will determine how much fuel is used. Later on, the player can find better fuel sources in higher-tiered sectors. Each world has its own look and feel. Luckily, the second planet I visited, after burning up almost my entire fuel tank, was inhabited by friendly plant people. Occasionally, I would find a merchant among them, resulting in my purchase of an assault rifle. Ranged weapons are used with a stamina or energy bar. taking ammunition out of the resource gathering equation. However, this doesn't mean there is infinity ammo to use. Different weapons burn up energy at different rates, and therefore changes the way the player approaches enemies. My personal favorite strategy is to trap monsters in cages of dirt. Since its release on Steam, Starbound has become one of the top-selling games on the PC client. Even before the game's official release, there are tons of mods made by an ever-growing community. One mod in particular adds Mass Effect-inspired items and characters. The Mass Effect style fits pretty well in Starbound, and many other mods are being planned in the forums, including Power Ranger costumes and intelligent ant colonies. The game currently sits at a price of $15, a steal for the amount of content currently being presented. What's even better is that the developers have tons of more content planned in the future. This includes more ways to gain pixels, such as farming or hunting, and customizable ships. Of course, there are also several seasonal items that come and go, like many other PC titles, and there are plans to bring the game to the PS4 and the Vita. While I can't officially declare Starbound to be a classic yet, I can say that it's one of the best games I've played in a very long time. Space travel has never been so rewarding and fun. Many of us have dreamed of traveling through space, finding treasure, glory, and adventure, and Ty Uri and his team of amazing developers at Chucklefish have brought that dream to life. The company proves to be friendly, creative, and supportive, especially for the modding community. After spending many amazing hours in Starbound's beta, I can only dream of the things coming in the full release. Chucklefish's Starbound will gain its classic status. Of that there is no doubt. The adventure that leads them there, though, that will be epic. I'm Razor105 of Team Forever Classic, and I hope you've enjoyed our review of Starbound. Till then, stay cool, and enjoy space.